Imagine having the power of a CEO, an army that could rival a small nation, and just more money than you could possibly spend in 100 lifetimes. Now imagine you can't even step outside. You can't visit your own mother's grave. Well, that is the terrifying paradox of the modern cartel kingpin. So let's dive in to what it's really like inside this gilded cage.
When you get to the absolute peak of this criminal empire, we are talking about a personal net worth of $3 billion. I mean, that's a number so big it's hard to even wrap your head around. But here's the real question. What good is it? What can you actually do with all that money?
You know, this quote from someone who actually lived this life, it says it all, doesn't it? You have all the money, all the power in the world, and yet you're completely cut off from the most basic, fundamental human experiences. The cage is made of solid gold, but believe me, it is still a cage.
So how on earth does someone end up in a situation like this? It's not like you wake up one day and decide to become a kingpin. No, the journey starts much, much smaller. It starts with a simple, tempting illusion of a better life.
The path into this world almost always starts in a way that seems almost innocent. It kicks off with small, what you think are low-risk jobs. And these jobs, they offer that first taste of real money and power, creating this powerful illusion that you're finally getting ahead in life. I want you to think of it like a corporate ladder, just with way, way higher stakes. These are the first 3 rungs for any new recruit. And with each step up, sure, you get more money and more status, but the risks, they multiply like crazy. So let's start at the very bottom. Step 1. It all begins with a teenager, sitting on a plastic chair outside a convenience store, with nothing but a cheap cell phone and maybe a soda. The job couldn't be simpler. You text a bird emoji if you see military trucks, and you text a snake emoji if a rival crew rolls by. And for that, you get $100 a week. You're basically disposable furniture to the guys higher up, but what you don't realize is you're learning the system.
Okay, now check out the next step up, the transporter. Your job is to drive a semi-truck that looks like it's full of watermelons, but welded into the floorboards is half a ton of meth. The reward for just one 8-hour drive? $3,000. That's more than your parents might make in an entire year. But the risk? If you get stopped at a checkpoint, you're looking at 20 years in prison, while your bosses, they just hire a new driver tomorrow and don't think twice about it.
Once you've proven you're reliable, you graduate. You get a gun. Your new job is to collect a monthly tax from every single business in your territory. We're talking taco stands, pharmacies, nightclubs, everything. And if someone doesn't want to pay, well, you make a very public example out of them. Smashed windows, a beating in the street, you get the picture.
And the money is it's transformative. $1,500 a week, cash. Suddenly you can buy a used BMW. You can buy a new house for your mom. And she doesn't ask where the money's coming from. For that one brief moment, it really, really feels like you've made it. But here is the crucial turn. With every new car, with every piece of jewelry, every sign of success, you're not just earning more cash. You're painting a giant target on your own back, for rival cartels and for the government. And that illusion of freedom, it starts to systematically crack. All right, so now we're in the mid-game. You've climbed past the street-level stuff. You're a manager now. You're living in a nice house with a swimming pool. You're laundering money through legit businesses like car washes. But this is where the psychological tool really starts to eclipse any of the material rewards. As a cell leader, you're now in charge of about 10 guys who are, let's be honest, chaotic and impulsive. You're managing product, you're protecting territory, but you're also the head of HR, which means handling discipline. One day that's a beating, the next day it might be an execution, and the pressure for profits from above is constant. Failure doesn't mean you get fired, it means you get permanently replaced. And this is the terrifying reality for a mid-level guy. You are fighting a two-front war. On the outside, you've got the government trying to put you in jail and rival cartels trying to put you in the ground. But on the inside, your own ambitious men are constantly plotting to assassinate you and take your spot.
So your life just becomes this prison of paranoia. I mean, think about it. You're changing safe houses every single week. You only travel in armored vehicles. You assume every phone is tapped. You can't even trust your own family, your own brother. You're sleeping maybe 4 hours a night, always looking over your shoulder. Any semblance of a normal life is completely, utterly gone.
So let's say you survive that bloody climb. You outsmart, outfight, and outlive everyone else, and you finally make it to the top. You are now the king.
But it's here, at the absolute peak of power, that the trap snaps shut for good. You essentially become a ghost.
As a plaza boss, you were the CEO of a massive global corporation. It's logistical genius, really. You're managing submarines, fleets of drones, and international supply chains that stretch all the way from chemical labs in China to poppy fields in Colombia. You're bribing governors and generals, and you're generating tens of millions of dollars a month.
But you are completely robbed of a normal human experience. You manage submarines, but you can't go to your own daughter's 15th birthday party. You can't appear in a single photograph. After multiple plastic surgeries to hide your identity, your own kids might not even recognize you. You're a ghost, trapped in a mountain compound surrounded by 20-foot walls.
The paranoia becomes absolute. This quote just reveals the chilling, day-to-day calculus for survival. You end up executing your closest allies based on nothing more than a whisper of suspicion, because it's better to be safe than sorry. That's what it takes to survive one more day. In this business, there's no 401k. There's no peaceful retirement on a beach somewhere. Once you're this deep in the game, there are only two ways you're getting out. And trust me, neither of them is pretty. So after this whole life of fighting and killing just to get to the top of a billion-dollar empire, what's the escape plan? How do you cash out? Well, the short answer is, you don't. There are only two possible outcomes.
This is exit number 1, capture. A life sentence in a supermax prison, probably somewhere like ADX Florence, where you're locked in a concrete cell for 23 hours a day. Your billions are gone, your empire's gone, all you have left is a lifetime to sit there and think about it.
And this is exit number 2, a coffin. If you even try to retire, you will be killed, and not by your rivals, but by your own people. You just know too much. You're too big of a liability to be allowed to just walk away and live a peaceful life. And here's the truly sobering part. The individual is completely disposable. When the king falls, whether he's captured or killed, a successor, maybe a nephew, a son, a top lieutenant, immediately takes his place. The machine just keeps running. The cycle is absolutely endless. Which brings us right back to the very beginning. The billionaire kingpin is now in a concrete box or a wooden one. But somewhere out there, right now, another teenager is just starting his own journey, sitting on that same plastic chair with the soda, watching the road, and just waiting for his chance to climb the ladder.